Am I the a-hole for telling my parents I'm going to be as big a problem as my sister from now on? I, 17 female, am the responsible kid according to my parents. I have 2 siblings, 14 female and 11 male, and my brother and I get along because we're both pretty quiet and easygoing. But my sister is a complete witch, to put it frank. She throws a fit whenever she doesn't get her way, and usually my parents just give in because she's a big pain to deal with for days. She always has to be the center of attention, and she causes problems to get attention when she's not. Gets really freaking old. I drive them to school and pick them up now, and our mom gave me money to get us fast food for dinner, since she and my dad have a work thing and won't be home till late in the evening. My sister likes McDonald's, but I hate it. And we always eat what she wants. So I say we're going to Sonic, because I know my brother likes their food and so do I. My sister insists we go to McDonald's, and I told her I'm driving, so I decide where we go. And both me and brother are tired of McDonald's, and she can shut up and deal. She starts screaming at me, tries to call our parents and doesn't get an answer, and eventually sulks and refuses to order food. I get an extra pack of chicken in case she changes her mind, and take us home. She has a screaming, crying fit to our parents later about it. Over freaking McDonald's. Later, my mom says I know how she gets and to just humor her next time. And I say I'm not going to anymore. And also, it's awful that she gets her way all the time. And they need to tell her to can it and make her do stuff me and my brother like sometimes, or leave her at home. My mom says she's difficult and we're more easygoing. So I say, so you're saying I'm too nice and I need to be difficult to get what I want? Assignment understood. I'm going to be as much of a problem as I can from now on. Then I started not doing any more chores than she does. None. Using some of her more irritating phrases to the parents and loudly complaining about anything she wants to do. And now I'm the bad guy and being mean. And they say I need to be the mature example. But also, it kinda worked, cause they finally made her go to the restaurants we like and never get to go to. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. It seems your parents are neighbors. And though I don't really recommend your course of action, it seems to work. It also stopped doing things for the sister. Can you pick her up? Nope. She's going to scream and cry about some arbitrary thing, so she can figure out her own way home. Here's money for food. Not for her. She'll scream and cry if she doesn't get what she wants. So give her money so she can sort it out herself, while brother and I get food. Can you take the trash out? No, I feel that I just enable her as that is her chore, not mine. If you're not holding her to her chores, why should you hold me to mine? Anyway, don't become hated by your parents and kicked out because you're taking a stand. Get a job, make money, study, whatever you do, and move out and go low/no contact with your sister, unless she suddenly stops being spoiled. I agree about not recommending this course of action, despite how satisfying it is, just because Opie is 17 and approaching an age where her parents can kick her out, or refuse to pay for college, etc. Definitely recommend moving out if it's an option, but at that age, it's not possible for a lot of people. And Opie shouldn't burn bridges that she might need, and soon. They won't kick her out. Who would they get to do free babysitting and chores? That's what I'm worried about, specifically the chores part. Opie has her brother. Are all of the chores they aren't doing being pushed into him? Babysitting won't happen, but chores? Those I can see being pushed. Real chores don't start till 12 in my family, so he only has to make up his bed and clean up his room. But he's on strike now too. Not stay home. Bravo. Your parents failed on raising your sister and you and your brother suffered. Now your parents can deal with the fallout of their bad parenting. I'm glad Opie's nearly an adult, but I'm sad for her brother. Parents deal with the fallout certainly, but they always have that unconditional parental love to lean on when it is hard. Little man better hope middle sister attends an out-of-state college. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my brother christen my new home's bathroom? This has been happening since yesterday. I'm pretty sure I'm not the a-hole, but my family has me doubting myself. Anyway, my husband, 31 male and I, 28 female, just bought a house several days ago. It's really exciting. We've been living in his apartment for the past year, which has been fine, but I'm really looking forward to having something that's truly ours. As you might guess, my family has been excited too. After we closed the deal, we went out to dinner with my mom and dad and one of my brothers. Let's call him Kyle, 30 male. Kyle has a story about him. Apparently, when we all moved into our first house when I was about 4 and he was 6, Kyle was sick. But almost immediately after moving into the home, went to the bathroom and took an absolutely nasty dump on the toilet. Afterwards, my mother turned to my dad and said, "Well, at least someone christened the bathroom." That's it. That's the whole story. I've never found it particularly hilarious or anything. It's just one of those stories that your parents like to tell every few months, and you smile and nod along. Kyle, on the other hand, absolutely loves the story. Ever since then, whenever somebody in the family moves into a new home, Kyle insists on christening their bathroom. He did it when I moved into my apartment. He did it when our eldest brother moved into his home. But I'm certain he did it when he moved into his own apartment. My parents also find it pretty funny that he continues to do this. At dinner, Kyle made a comment about looking forward to christening the bathroom at myself and my husband's home. My husband obviously had no idea what this meant, and my parents had Kyle explained it to him. After hearing the story, he muttered something, and then quickly moved the conversation along. Later that night, he told me in no uncertain terms that he thought it was a bizarre tradition, and he did not want to take part in it. Even though I personally don't care either way, I find it stupid but harmless. It's a perfectly reasonable opinion to have, so I agreed with him. I was talking to my mom last night, and when we discussed the dinner we'd had, she brought up telling my husband about the tradition. I told her that we would not be letting Kyle christen our bathroom, and she tried to persuade me otherwise. I said no. I thought that was that, but since yesterday, she, my dad, and Kyle have all been texting me that I should follow the family tradition. I texted my eldest brother though, and he said I should stand my ground, and obviously my husband agrees with that. I don't really plan on changing my mind about this. But guys, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. No family traditions should involve fecal matter. Tell your brother that you feel bad for him that the highlights in his life is taking a dump in someone else's house. Also, to your family that they have no better stories than a child taking a dump. Their whole traditions involve turd. Congrats. Not stay home. This is a bizarre tradition. And honestly, why have your parents encouraged it for so long? Kinda cute when he's 6, not when he's an adult. If he wants to be the first to christen your bathroom, he can also be the first to clean it. And as a way to discourage this, I wouldn't have any toilet paper in the bathroom the first time your brother is over. Then maybe it won't be so much fun for him. Better have no towels in there either. Your brother will find it funny to expand the tradition. Just tell your family someone already used the bathroom after you got the keys. There, it's christened. I don't mind toilet humor, but this tradition is disgusting. Not stay home. LMAO. This is the best AITA in a while. Not stay whole. Sometimes traditions need to die. I remember as a kid, my brothers and I had a mini competition to be the first to do things in our new house. And it was all ridiculous things, like first to climb out of the basement window into the backyard, and first to spit on a flower patch. It was like some of the Guinness Book of World Records things that make you wonder why anyone would bother to keep track of that. I can't imagine trying to turn it into a tradition that I spit on a flower patch of every home my family lives in, because I'm not a 9-year-old anymore. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for threatening to ban my cousin from living at my vacation house after how she treated my daughter? My 42 female cousin, 40 female, sometimes stay in mine and my husband's vacation home, which is like an hour away from our town. My mother also lives there regularly. Sometimes my mother will take my daughter in the vacation home during the time periods when my daughter has no school. My daughter is 12. My cousin has 2 daughters as well, one 9-year-old and another one 3-year-old. This time my cousin stayed at the vacation house during Christmas period. Due to mine and my husband's work schedule, we couldn't have time off during Christmas. So my daughter went to stay there with my mom and my cousin and her kids. Recently, we started talking summer plans, and my daughter said she doesn't want to go to the vacation home if my cousin and her kids are also there during summer. After I asked her to explain, my daughter told me that my cousin would always yell at her and force her to babysit the kids so she could smoke. watch TV, or be on her phone. She would also ban my daughter from doing her interests. My daughter loves gaming, and we've got her first gaming PC, which she brought with her on the vacation house. My cousin apparently banned my daughter from playing at her PC because she's giving a bad example to her kids, and that as long as she's around, my daughter is not allowed to play games. My daughter also told me that one night she was watching Lord of the Rings, and my cousin's oldest daughter saw some scenes, got scared and started crying, and that night my cousin forced my daughter to give her the DVDs of the movie and banned her from watching TV or movies without her permission. I confronted my mom and asked her why she didn't do anything about any of this, and she said she wasn't aware because my cousin probably did all these when mom would not be present. I have a hard time believing that, but my mom apologized both to me and my daughter. I called my cousin and cussed her off for how she treated my daughter, and I reminded her that she's only a guest at a house I and my husband own, and it's also my daughter's house, and she's got no rights bossing around my daughter. She apologized at first, but then defended herself, saying that as an adult, she's also responsible for my daughter and she did what she thought was best. My husband and I decided to give her one more chance, but told her she'll be banned from being a guest if she does this again. My mom and her called us the a-holes and said we should just accept the apology she gave instead of threatening to ban her. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole for what you said to your mom and your cousin, but you would be the a-hole if you subject this on your daughter again. You are being far too lenient, giving her another chance. I don't plan to. Their reaction showed me that I should never leave my daughter on their watch again, and it's also a decision my daughter made and voiced. Let's be honest, your cousin didn't apologize to you or your daughter. She apologized that you were angry with her, then justified what she did. Your daughter can't use your vacation property because of your cousin's mistreatment. That alone, the fact you decided you can't trust them, means they shouldn't have access at all. Not stay home. If she's not planning on continuing the behavior, she shouldn't be mad at the fact she'll be banned if she does it again. That's exactly what I told her after. That I only mentioned she'll be banned if my daughter tells me she pulled something like this again. Her argument on that was that I can't always rely on my daughter's words without hearing the other side first as well. I suggest adding in-home security cameras. If there is an issue or something, you can see it for yourself. Not stay home. Your house, your rules. Does cousin or mom pay any of the house expenses? Power? Water? Gas? Internet? If they don't, then they are both guests and need to be reminded of that. They can call you an a-hole all they like, but in the end, you have the final say on who stays. Most of the expenses of the house are paid by my husband and I. My cousin only pays for her personal groceries alone whenever she's a guest. My mom will pay a small share of water and electricity bills for the time she might stay there, but majority is covered by my husband and I. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother's fiancé the truth? I, 21 female, have an older brother, 29 male, who has been divorced twice. It is about to get married to his fiancé of 2 years, 26 female, and she has a party celebrating the fact that she got engaged a few days ago. I was invited, but my brother wasn't since she wanted to have a little party with her friends, and since she wanted to bond with me, her future sister-in-law, she also invited me. So I started chatting with her and her friends, and later in the night we started to get a little tipsy. Then suddenly she started to talk about my brother, stating that she couldn't believe that he never got married before since he is such a handsome man. But it didn't make sense that she said that, since he was divorced twice and one of his former wives had a child with him. Then she started to talk about him, saying things that wasn't true, like the fact that he was a lawyer when he worked at a hotel as a janitor, and that he was making $150,000 a year when he was making minimum wage. At this point, I was shocked because of how all the things she was talking about was untrue, so I asked and told her this, and she said it was my brother. I was confused as of why he said that, but I knew that before in his previous marriages that he had verbally mistreated his wife, so I knew either way I could not let this slide. I brought her to the bathroom upstairs and told her everything, and I mean everything. She looked shocked, and after I finished telling her, she went downstairs, got her stuff, and said she felt sick, and left. The next day comes around and my phone was blown up with messages, missed calls, and DMs from my family and brother about what happened. It turns out that after she left, she went to her house, where my brother was at a time, confronted him and broke up with my brother, then kicked him out. My family and brother are calling me an insensitive witch and a home wrecker. I don't feel bad about telling her the truth, but I do feel bad about ruining his engagement. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You saved that girl's life. She deserved to know who she'd agreed to marry. Also, what did the brother think was going to happen? If you tell someone lies but don't tell people who know the truth about lies, they're likely to out your lies whether they mean to or not. It's pretty hard to afford a lawyer's lifestyle on a minimum wage janitorial position, so she was bound to find out the truth pretty quickly anyway, soon after the wedding. Exactly. The lies weren't sustainable. She would have found out sooner or later, but all Opie did was ensure that it was soon enough for her to make an informed decision. Wait, so your brother, a janitor who makes minimum wage, nothing wrong with that, lied to his fiancée about his previous 2 marriages, a child and overinflated his wealth by a factor of 10? And they're witching at you for letting her know. Yeah, not stay home. Don't forget he said he was a lawyer too. Like, what is the endgame here? It's kind of hard to hide the fact that A, he is not a lawyer, B, he is a janitor. See, he's been married twice and has a kid. I guess that one's easier if he has no contact. But you'd have to rely on everyone you know not to blab. Does he think that the truth will eventually come out, but she's so smitten with him that she'll overlook everything? And seriously though, either he's a really good liar, or she's really gullible if she didn't know any of that. How could he hide that stuff and for how long?